All right, welcome back to Mondraker TV. I'm out in the woods today on a brand new bike. This one is called Zendit. It's a full carbon AVINOX powered, monstrous power, a long travel EMTB, and this thing is designed to take on the most challenging climbs and descents you could possibly imagine. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Okay, so Zendit. Now, before we go into all the tech details on this, I just want to reinforce the point that it's not just another bike launch from Mondraker. This has a really cool backstory to it. And of course, you could probably tell by the slender frame design on it that it's a bit of a passion project from our design team. So cast your mind back a few years, we designed a bike called the Neat. Now this had a light system in it, had the TQ HPR 50 system. And what that enabled was our design team to come up with a bike that looked so close to a conventional bike, but had the added bonus of having a motor in there to give you just that extra push when you need it. Now, it was a brilliant system and it was one of the best bikes I've ever ridden, and it still is. Lovely bike. But the fact is, since then, e-technology with batteries, motor output and everything else has come on so far. And our biggest selling bike, and it always has been, is the Crafty, which uses the Bosch CX system on there. Brilliant system, loads of support, loads of power, a big 800 watt-hour removable battery, so it's really versatile. And actually, it still is the most versatile e-bike we make. Now, the thing with the Crafty that's really special is the fact that it is very flattering and confidence inspiring to those that need it. But also, if you want to push your luck a bit and just really push on some rough, treacherous terrain, it's got your back. It's the perfect do-it-all bike. Now, of course, advancements have happened again since then. As you no doubt have realised, this has the AVINOX M2S system in it. And this has enabled our designers to come up with this frame configuration and layout from the ground up, designed around this motor. I mean, look at the down tube on that. Yeah, that down tube is 61 millimeters thick. Just to put that into perspective, the Neat had a down tube that was 67 millimeters thick, and that was housing a battery around 380 watt hour. The technology has enabled us to design this frame from the ground up to house this system. It's not just bolted into a bike, it's not a bike that's in our current range. This is from the ground up, a brand new project. And given the huge output of this motor and battery combination offered by AVINOX on here, it's got some very cool features. Okay, so onto the frame then. So this frame takes everything that our design team has learned over the last nearly 12 years of designing EMTB bikes with all different systems for all different applications. And it's combined that with what we've really learned in the last 2 or 3 seasons working with the Mondraker factory racing downhill team. Now, the back end on this is closer in performance to what our Summum downhill bike offers than anything we've managed to achieve before. It really is a line in the sand in terms of performance. So the frame is full carbon using our Stealth Air carbon system, including the rocker, which is hollow and weighs nearly nothing. It's incredible. So lifting straight from the Summum, we have revised bearings on here. So we have the same size bearings throughout. On the rocker here, for example, we have Enduro Max bearings, and they've got additional seals on the inside and the outside with circlip retainers to keep it all in place. Not only do they last longer, but they're easier to replace when the time comes. That's just a great addition on here. We're using the latest iteration of the Zero suspension platform. I'll get into that in a bit when we're talking about the suspension, because the kinematics have been designed specifically for this bike. They're completely different to what we have on the Crafty. So as well as the frame having that beautiful slender top tube that goes straight into the seat stays, it's got a number of other cool features on here. So of course you've got the AVINOX display onto the top tube here, and this is touchscreen, it's full color. It's super easy to use. It doesn't seem to matter whether it's covered in mud or water or you've got your gloves on. You can just swipe through it. You can also just use stuff via the app as well. Infinitely tunable the way you want things. Cable port straight in through the front of the head tube there. Super easy. And on the inside of the frame, we have cable channels. So you can feed the hose in there and it comes straight out the other end. Really easy to work on. You have a little magnetic charge port cover here, and it's just slightly facing uphill so water doesn't pool up in that area. So nice and neat, and it keeps it out of harm's way. On the chainstay of the bike, we have new rubber silencers. I mean, this bike really is silent. Now, unlike the Generation 1, like the M1 motor offered by AVINOX, the M2S is completely silent. Doesn't rattle, doesn't have any noise. This bike is super, super quiet. Doesn't seem to matter what you're thumping down. That is until, of course, you know, you're bottoming out the rims on rocks and stuff, but the bike makes no noise. It's super quiet. There's also a mud fender here, really nicely designed to stop rocks and the worst of the mud gathering around the shock there. It does a great job, as I've noticed from the last few months riding here in the UK. I mean, this is lush, but it hasn't been like this recently. And onto the back of the bike there, and you could probably see that has a wire coming out of the Access rear derailleur. So yeah, Access is wireless and you can run it wireless, but we've chosen to wire it straight into the AVINOX system because of the cool free shifting feature it has. And what it means is when you're clattering down really rough descents, and say you know you've got a switchback climb coming up, you can sort of pre-select the gears. At first, you know, you have to recalibrate the way you ride, but once you get used to it, it's a really useful system. So despite the fact this has the Zero suspension platform that looks very similar to what we have on the Crafty, it's quite a different bike. It's more travel, it's more aggressive, and it's more capable, and accordingly has a very different suspension feel. So in terms of progression, you're running about 27% on this, and it plays really well with the larger volume air cans out there. And likewise, it works really well with coil shocks. Now, because of the nature of this bike, we want the rear brake to have as little to do with the rear suspension as possible. We want it effectively decoupled. So we're looking at 99% in terms of anti-rise. The Crafty, just to put it into perspective, was 105. And then onto the anti-squat. So we're looking at 105% anti-squat on this bike. The Crafty, by comparison, is at 123%. But you know, you've got to bear in mind that the Crafty is a more all-round bike and it has slightly less power. This one, with more power and being able to climb up worse terrain, you need all the traction possible. So the lower the anti-squat number, the more traction you have, but the more hindrance you have with climbing. This one has the most powerful motor available in the industry right now, so you wanted to harness what was possible. 105 is the sweet spot. So we're offering 5 sizes: small, medium, medium large, which is now obviously our most popular, large and an extra large. This model in front of you is a size large. This one has a 500mm reach. Head angle in the standard setting is 63.5 degrees. Seat angle in the standard setting is 77 degrees, and bottom bracket is 345mm. You can drop that down 5mm and take the angles back 0.4 degrees by adjusting the flip chip there. Okay, let's talk about chainstay lengths then. So we have size specific chainstays across the bikes. So the small, the medium and the medium large have a 450mm, and the large, like this one, and the XL have a 455. That is with the 27.5 inch rear wheel, so good length back end on there. Now in testing, universally, everyone decided that the 27.5 approach on a bike like this, just like we have with the level, just suits the application better. It enables the bike to feel agile, yet it's a big travel bike. It's responsive, it loves back wheel, and it loves just being treated badly, to be honest. However, if you're like me and you love a 29er on the rear, you can do that as well. Super easy. We've just decided to offer it with mullet, and if you want a 29, you can plug one in. All you got to do is change that flip chip down here, and you grow your chainstay by 7mm. That is on all the chainstay sizes. That means on my size large, I'll get a chainstay of 262mm. Get in. Now, something else that's just very cool about this is the back end is the same on all bikes, despite the fact you have size specific chainstays on there. That's because we changed the pivot placement very slightly. And what that means is, it doesn't matter if you're riding a size small or a size extra large, you have the same exact suspension kinematics, the same exact performance. Amazing. I came down here just to move the pedals, but I think I'll just stay, it's easier. So the AVINOX M2S motor, the most powerful motor on the market at the moment. So this kicks out 130 Newton meters of torque. Under boost, this will do 150 Newton meters, which means it doesn't really matter what sort of steep climb you're on. If you have to track stand or change your position, you can get going again really easily. It's just mind-blowing what this enables. But also it's got a very soft touch. It's very intuitive. The way that it works is just incredible. It's so responsive to use. Okay, enough of being down there. So battery in the down tube, we have chosen to use the 800 watt-hour battery in there. This gives the best combination of outputs. It gives 1300 watts of peak power, but it also has that huge 800 watt-hour volume to it, and it's incredibly thin all the way down. This has given our designers the freedom to design the bike that just looks the way it does, performs the way it does, but also gets the best bang for buck when you're out on the trail. You get the most amount of mileage in reflection to the power. Now, of course, having an integrated battery on here, this one is also compatible with the fast charger, so the big 12 amp charger. That's available aftermarket, or if you have the XR model, it will come shipped with that. What that means is you can get a 75% charge on an hour and a half. I love the idea of having my power pack in my van, going out and doing a battery in the morning, stopping for a nice lunch break, you know, kick back for a bit, get 75% charge and go out and do it all over again. To me, that sounds like the future. So there's 3 models available to suit different price points on the market, but these are very much performance-based bikes. They all have DT wheels, they all have max grips on the front and max terror on the rear as far as tyres go. They all have double down rear tyre casing on them. They all have Fox factory suspension on them. So the RRS and the XR have the Fox podium, and you get the brand new 38 on the RR model. So they're all super high-end spec bikes for ultimate performance. And finally, who is Zendit really for? Well, anyone, of course. Anyone's free to go and buy a bike. But make no mistake, this isn't a bike for a passenger. This is a bike for a pilot. It can get up the most janky, unimaginable climbs possible. The soft touch to that motor, the endless power that it has, and the way that it puts it to the ground, the traction you have, is mind-blowing. And then the suspension performance that you get coming back down again is another level. This bike really can do it all. This is a bike to send it, that's for sure. Sorry, I had to do that, didn't I? But there we go, that's the end. I'd love to know what you think of Zendit. I think this bike is rad. Let us know in the comments underneath, and we'll see you in another video soon. Take care.